Hello and welcome to a long-awaited sequel of a video I made last year demonstrating how I improved my Kyocera DuraXV Extreme, and I will now be showing the process with the Kyocera DuraXV Extreme, the Kyocera DuraXE Epic, as well as the Kyocera DuraXA Equip. This DuraXA Equip is new and has not yet had any work done to it, so it will be the one I'm demonstrating the process on, and I can use these two phones to just kind of show final product. So these are some of my favorite phones ever. This right here is my personal primary phone, hence why it is pretty rough around the edges at this point. So what I will be covering today is how to install Android apps on these phones. Firstly, most important is going to be installing a mouse pointer app, because it's really hard to use apps on a phone with no touchscreen unless you have a mouse pointer. And once we get the mouse pointer installed, I will be showing how to install an App Store alternative, or rather the Google Play Store alternative, since these phones do not come with the Google Play Store. And I will also be showing how to install and use and set up Button Mapper, which is vital for simplifying many functions of this phone. So just to be clear, these are not technically the same phone, but they are very similar. These two are the same exact hardware, and they're newer than this one. However, I choose to use this one because, well, I happen to use Verizon's network through US Mobile as my provider on it, and these two are not very compatible with Verizon. But also, even if I were to switch networks, I would stick with this one since it fully supports all the networks, but also it has very good T9 texting, T9 text input, whereas these do not. However, I will be covering an alternative method for that. Yeah, of course, all my apps here opening up since... Alright, I'm going to set these phones aside and focus on the Kyocera DuraXA Equip, which you can buy from US Cellular, or you can buy unlocked directly from Kyocera's website. Of course, you can also buy it on third-party sites such as eBay. So, first things first is the mouse pointer. So in order, okay, before that, before the first thing, I'm going to change the screen timeout because it's going to keep annoying me if it times out in only 15 seconds. That's way too quick. All right, so in order to install the mouse pointer app on this phone, we're going to have to use a Windows computer connected to the phone via USB. So in order to accomplish that, we're going to use ADB, Android Device Bridge. In order to do that, we need to enable USB debugging, and in order to do that, we must first have developer options enabled. So I'm going to Settings, scrolling down to About Phone, going down to Software Information, and then down to Build Number. So here where it has Build Number, what you need to do is click on it repeatedly. And see how it says you are now a developer? That's all it takes, several times, just clicking the middle button here, the OK button. Now if we back out, if we scroll down to the bottom, oh, my apologies, back out one more. Go back to the home page of settings. If we go all the way to the bottom, there's a new option, developer options. So in developer options, just scroll down a little ways. Not super far, but still kind of far. And then there it is, USB debugging needs to be enabled. And then you need to just navigate to the OK and select it. And USB debugging is enabled just like that. So, time to set the phone aside for just a moment and switch to the computer. Move that out of the way to make space. So, there we have my lovely reflection in this Windows laptop. So, I have already pulled up here Reddit comment that I typed up and posted on a dumb phone subreddit that outlines the entire process. But of course, a written tutorial is not as good as a video for a lot of people. So first things first is, we need to get ADB set up. So we're gonna go to Google and type in minimal ADB and Fastboot and search that. Probably this one. Yeah. Okay. So here it is, minimal ADB and Fastboot, version 1.4.3. That is now downloaded just that easily. Now, I already have it installed, so once you download it, you can figure out how to install it, I hope. It looks like it comes in a zip file, which you would simply extract and then install. So, I'm hoping that that is not something that you need help with. If it is, then I'm sure you can find another video detailing how to install minimal ADB and Fastboot. It is a very popular program. So once you have it installed, you can use this software to connect with your phone and control it via the Windows command prompt. So once you have it installed, you can simply go to your little start menu here and search ADB and launch it that way. Here, let me do that again since the view wasn't perfect. ADB, launch it just like that. So in order to connect the phone, let me just, oh boy, yeah, I don't have a very professional setup here, so bear with me. It's going to be as simple as taking a USB-C cable, which is connected one end to the computer, and the other end is going to go right here into the phone. We must open this little tab on the side, which provides waterproofing to protect the charger port. Open it up, connect that cable, at which point the phone will ask you if you want to allow access to your data, which actually doesn't really matter, but sure, why not? What does matter is when you go to the minimal ADB and Fastboot, in order to connect to the phone, you must type ADB shell. When you type ADB shell, just SHELL, Now we have error device unauthorized, which is what you will see. Here, let me refocus on that. You will see that when you have not yet granted approval. So look at that. The phone is now asking for approval. So you can go ahead and hit allow, but I'm going to tick the box here for always allow from this computer and then allow. Now that that's been allowed, I can go back here and type ADB shell again. And just like that, you know you're in when you see that little $sign. So, time to go and download the mouse pointer app, which I use MATVT mouse for Android. And I'm going to click the link here from the comment I made on Reddit because it links to my Dropbox where I can download it from here. However, originally I found it on their actual website of the MATVT app, but I can't find it on there anymore. Last I checked, the app is there, but the phone version is not. I'm only seeing one that does not really work for the phone, and it is meant for Android TVs in the first place. But when I first downloaded it, there was definitely a phone version. See, it's even labeled phone app release. I don't know what happened to it. So I'm just providing all of you a copy of the file that I downloaded more than a year ago, and you can find it linked in the description of this video. So you can download that, and then we also should go ahead and download the aforementioned Google Play Store alternative. So you can just Google Aurora Store. That's A-U-R-O-R-A, and I will also link to it. And you can download it right from F-Droid. So right there, you can see F-Droid, download. So from here, from F-Droid's website, you have to be a little bit careful, because if you just click the first download button, you see you're going to download F-Droid, which is not what we need. F-Droid is another alternate app store, but it only has very specific apps, not the ones that you... It's not a Google Play Store alternative. So you're going to keep scrolling until you see right here, download APK, which is on the newest version 4.4.4. That's the current newest version. Of course, that will change over time. So you can go ahead and download that. Now, you have to access the folder where your program files are stored for minimal ADB and Fastboot. So in order to do that, you're going to need to open your file explorer. And on the left side here, scroll here, let me scroll all the way down, and then you can go to OSC. So you want to go to your C drive, the root of your C drive, and then go into Program Files x86, and then scroll down to Minimal ADB and Fastboot. Now, all of these little files with the light green logo, these are all APK files that I've already put here, which you won't have yet. And just to be clear, APK is the Android app. So there are actually 3 things that I recommend putting in here before starting if you're doing this for the Kyocera DuraXA Equip or the Kyocera DuraXA DuraXE Epic, as well as the Kyocera DuraXV Extreme Plus. But you can skip the third app that I'm about to get to if you're just using the original DuraXV Extreme. I mentioned at the beginning of the video that the DuraXV Extreme has excellent T9 capabilities, but the newer versions have it removed. So the third app that I'm going to recommend, you can Google SSPANAK/TT9, and right here, oh, I misspelled it. TT9, not TTP. There it is, GitHub. So this is the traditional T9 app. So this is an alternate entry method that will replace the complete garbage version of T9 that the newer versions of these phones come with. So you on GitHub, got a pan over here. Let's click this Get It on F-Droid button. Scroll down past the download F-Droid. And right here, version 30. Download APK. Much better. So I'm going to open my downloads folder and take those 3 apps that we downloaded and then go back to the program file folder for minimal ADB and Fastboot and paste. So yeah, it's already in here because I've already put it in here. Yes, I will grant administrator permission, and there we go. So I don't know, it was already there. Okay, so first thing that we need to install is the mouse pointer app. So I'm going to copy the name of this file, copy the entire file name, and then go back here. And we actually need to exit the shell. Now that we know that it's working, I personally like to use ADB shell as just my verification to make sure it's connected. But I will type exit to go out of the shell because the installer is no longer done through shell like it was back in the day. So I will type ADB install, and then here comes the package name. So you can right click and that will paste just by right clicking. And when I hit enter, it'll wait for just a moment and then say success. So that app is now installed, just that easily. Let's repeat the process for Aurora Store. So copy the entire file name, ADB install, right click, enter. And while that's going, we can go back to the traditional T9 app, copy all that, go back, ADB install, right click, enter. So now we have triple success, and just, yeah, there we go, triple success. So let's go ahead and see what's going on over here on the phone. So when you install third-party apps on these phones, you will find them in Business Tools, which you can find by going to Settings and Tools, Business Tools, and look at that. The gang's all here. So let's start with the mouse app. Notice how it says you need to set up permissions because the accessibility permissions not granted, accessibility service not running, overlay permission not granted, overlay service not running. We'll get to that in just a moment. So you can click setup permission. Actually, yeah, why not? Let's get to it now. If you click setup permissions, notice what happens, the app crashes. Now, if you're running this on the Kyocera DuraXV Extreme, it is different because it actually allows you to access additional settings. But on the newer versions, you cannot. So you really have to use ADB to grant those permissions. So we cannot grant those permissions. Okay. But there's one more thing you have to do on the phone itself. And if you go way down to the bottom, there's this box for, let me get the phone closer, override activation key. You have to tick that box. Go down, go to the left, and now you're in the text field and you can type 17. So, and then go back to the right. Oh, sorry, no, you have to go up, up, down, and there you have the save highlighted. Click save, new key is 17. What we've just done there is we've designated the star key, the asterisk, as the activator button to enable and disable the mouse pointer. So now to set up permissions, we can close out of this, or no, I guess I'll leave it. So yeah, the permissions are not granted, not running. That's okay. We go back to ADB. So I'm going to go back to my Reddit comment and see where I have put all the necessary ADB commands here in a paste bin. Now, this is another thing I plan on linking in the description of this video once it's done. So go ahead and copy everything except the last line. The last line is for a different service, a different app. So copy all of that, go back to the minimal ADB and Fastboot, and we have to go back, we have to enter the ADB shell, which we already know how to do from earlier. So now that we're in shell, hit right click, enter, and you're done. Just that easily. If we go back here, notice how there's a significant change. Now it says accessibility permissions granted, accessibility service running, overlay permissions granted, overlay service running. So that's it for the mouse pointer. We've done it. If you press and hold star, there it is. So yeah, let's press and hold it to disable again, and let's go somewhere we can try this out. For example, let's go to the settings. Why not? If you enable that mouse pointer, see, you can just go all around the place. Let's just tap on whatever we want here. You can click on things and you can move it up, down, left, right. And if you quickly press without holding the star, it'll change it to scroll mode, and then you can scroll up, down, left, and right. There's no left and right here in this settings, but anywhere there is, you would be able to. And then to switch back to cursor mode, you hit that and it goes, you hit star again just once and it goes back, and to disable, press and hold star. And you definitely don't want to just leave it running all the time, because, for example, if you have it enabled, you can't open the menu. Because it's just trying to click to whatever you have highlighted with the mouse. So there we go. Most important thing has been accomplished. So now that we have that set up, I personally like to get a shortcut to business tools going. So if we go into settings and then go down to programmable keys, which, by the way, you can just use the buttons like the keys to skip around. So if you hit 9, it'll open settings, 9, 1, 5, 5 for navigation keys. So for the way I have it done personally is my left key goes to business tools. Okay, so let's go back to business tools and go ahead and go to the Aurora Store. So this is our Google Play Store alternative. I'm just going to scroll down and hit next, 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 and we must grant these permissions. So let's go ahead and grant. So set to on and go back. Did I grant everything needed here? Oh no, I did not. So it looks like I'm having trouble accessing everything there, but I have the mouse pointer, so I can enable that by pressing and holding star, tap hold star again to scroll up and down. In here I can go ahead and then tap star again to disable scroll mode, go back and hit grant, allow, grant. Now you can't use the mouse here, you have to press and hold to disable it, and then highlight that by pressing down, allow. Let's see if there's any more that needs granted. No, so we can hit finish. And now time to log in. So I'm just scrolling down here to accept terms and conditions of Google's, and I'm in. Done. So this is the Aurora Store. I would say the most important next step by far is to install Button Mapper. Let's just see if we can go ahead and start searching. Oops. There it is, Button Mapper. It's the first one here. Install. And yes, I would like to install the application. Okay, it's done. We can open that. Yes, yes, yes. Remap your hardware buttons, we know. So we have to scroll through this sideways, so I'm going to use my mouse. Enable scroll mode and just keep scrolling, and that's it. So now you'll notice it says right here, the Button Mapper needs to be activated in settings. So what happens if we hit go, you may wonder. Start accessibility service. Ooh, it wants me to go to settings. So I'm gonna hit OK. Go to system settings, accessibility. But, okay, let's do it. There it is. I had to disable the mouse to move up and down here. If I, oh, go ahead and, okay, it's being difficult. Oh boy. Button Mapper, can I enable use service? Oh, I sure can't. Which I luckily already knew and have a way around. So with Button Mapper, not sure why they're not showing up in, yeah, there we go. Button Mapper on the newer versions of this phone has to be enabled via ADB since accessibility settings don't work. It is very important that you listen to this, however, if you are using the Kyocera DuraXV Extreme. If you are using the Extreme, you know, this one over here, not the Extreme Plus, just the Extreme, then you can actually enable Button Mapper using the phone's native accessibility settings. It will allow it. And it is actually very important not to use ADB, because if you use ADB to enable it on the original Extreme, it will break that delightful old-fashioned built-in T9 text input that the phone comes with, and we don't want that. So in order to enable button mapper, we have to go back to ADB. I'm going to backspace all this gibberish I've accidentally typed by pressing on the keyboard this whole time, and go back to that paste bin link that I will include in the video description. And when I mentioned earlier that the very last line was for a different app, this is what it's for. So highlight that, go back, stay in the shell, don't exit the shell, so the $ means you're in shell. Right click, enter, and you're done. That's it. So I'm actually going to completely set aside the computer at this point because it is no longer necessary. All right. So now button mapper will no longer ask you to enable that permission since it is now successfully enabled. Just gonna get the phone as close as I can here. So just to be clear, button mapper is vital to this phone's functionality because it allows you to change the functionality of almost any button you want on this phone. And this phone has a lot of buttons that are downright unnecessary for your average person. For example, when you flip the phone shut, there are 2 buttons on the outside, right here on the top. Additionally, you have the SOS key, which can be remapped. The PTT key cannot unless you have the premium version of this app, which is impossible because this phone does not have Google Play services and cannot install Google Play services. And without Google Play services, you cannot complete in-app purchases. Additional buttons that are not necessarily vital to the phone unless we remap them are the voice command button and this little camera speaker button. So let's see what we can do. One of the most important buttons that this phone is missing is a home button, because right now there are 2 ways to go directly to the home screen. First one being pressing the red end key, which will terminate any activity you have open, and that's not always what we want. The other way is to simply flip the phone shut, which will not terminate anything, but is inconvenient. So I personally map this microphone key as a home button, and I will show you exactly how. So let's go back to button mapper and scroll down to add buttons, where it will say be careful, etc., but it's okay. Add button, and I will press the microphone key, and just like that, there it is, F4. So scroll down and tap on or click on F4, and you get this lovely pop-up saying it's a pro feature. In fact, it is really not, because you can scroll down to no thanks, and that's it. Now, of course I would recommend paying for Pro for such a fantastic app, which I greatly appreciate, but as I mentioned, we don't have that option. Even if I was to log into Google Play Store on a different Android device that has Google Play services and purchase the premium version, I would not be able to restore that purchase to this phone without Google Play services. Now, using the same Google account on the Aurora Store, I am able to download apps that are paid that I have previously bought, but if it's an in-app purchase, that cannot be done, and I will demonstrate later. So go down to customize, turn it on, and look at that. We have multiple options. We have single tap, double tap, and long press. So every key can be set to do 3 different things depending on those 3 options, which I find quite neat. So I like to have the microphone key as a single tap home button personally. I also like to have long press go to recent apps. And for double tap, I like to use it. Oh, where is it? Okay, I guess it's not in actions. Must be in system. Look at all those options. And there we go. I like to use it to toggle portrait landscape because, oh yes, I need to allow permission to do something or other. Yep, on, back button, we're good. So just like that, we have our new home button. Look at that, brilliant. And if you press and hold, it shows recent apps. It's an app switcher, which the phone has built in, but normally is inaccessible to us. Double tap that, and look at that. Back to button mapper, because there are a few other important buttons. So another one that I think is incredibly important is the camera speaker button. So there it is, F3. I'm not going to change the single tap because I still like to be able to access the camera from the home screen. And I like to be able to toggle speakerphone on and off when I'm in calls. But for double tap and long press, it's different. So for double tap, I have mine set. Oh, goodness me. Okay. I guess it's in actions, not in system. For double tap, I have mine set to take a screenshot. For long press, system settings, there we go. So being able to take a screenshot is a very handy tool, needless to say. Let me see if I can increase the, somehow improve the visibility here of the screen. Maybe, yeah, if I turn the brightness down, that might help. So being able to screenshot is great. Now, the system settings, look at that. This phone has, built into it but hidden, a full Android settings. The full Android settings, not limited to the watered down version that comes with this phone. Now, annoyingly, you can't really use it well. You can't really click on anything, but that's where the mouse comes in. If we press and hold to enable it, you can't see it, but it's there. So if I click it, it'll go to the middle of the screen for privacy. And once you open any of these screens, then you can disable the mouse and scroll. Also, you see this little indicator on the top of the screen? That means that the phone's native system mouse is available if you press and hold pound. But it's not available here for annoying reasons that I don't understand. But this is very handy for a number of reasons, and I'll demonstrate one right now. So if we enable the mouse again, which again, you won't see it here, but it's there, and it always goes straight to the middle of the screen when you first turn it on. If we go into display, oh, let me disable that. So as much as I would love to use a dark theme, it doesn't work. I'm just going to demonstrate. See, I mean, it does technically, but it looks like garbage, so. And now, I do use nightlight. You can use it to, yeah, turn on from sunset to sunrise is what this option is. Turn on until sunrise. So this tints the display at night to be easier on the eyes and filter out some of the blue light. So it's pretty cool that this basic flip phone has that feature. But that's not, oh gosh, let me go back into display. That's not the most important thing here. Most important thing, of course, it does this obnoxious thing sometimes where it doesn't want you to see anything. Okay. Time to start over. And of course it's frozen up. That was not part of the plan. That might be because I tried to click something after the screen went blue. So normally if the screen goes blue like this in the settings, you can just back out, go back in and try again. However, it looks like we have ourselves a oh. Okay. So let's re-enable the mouse, go back into display. I don't need the system mouse. I'll just turn it off and disable the MATVT mouse, which again you can't see during the setting screens, but it's there. Scroll down, advanced, and this right here is vital. Very important, display size. If I were to scroll down, oh, that's weird. Hi, Pete. That's creepy since my name is Peter and it shouldn't know that. If I scroll down all the way and then move the D-pad, the navigation pad to the left, it'll move this from default to, oh, that didn't work. Uh-oh. Oh, that's rough. I guess it doesn't work on this phone, my apologies. But it works on the Kyocera DuraXV Extreme, the one that I actually use. And I guess I will go right here to demonstrate. This one is just much nicer, in my opinion, for a lot of reasons, including the system settings actually lets you navigate it without having to fight it. So if I go to display here and go down to advanced display size, look at that. So that's very significant because it allows more to fit on the screen, and a lot of apps don't fit properly on such a small screen. So doing that will allow more to be visible on the screen at the cost of it being smaller, and at one additional cost that I'm not willing to pay personally, which is all of this gets completely messed up, and I can't have that. No, but every once in a while it can be very useful. For example, during the initial setup of a lot of apps, you have to select options at the bottom of the page, which are sometimes completely invisible because it just doesn't fit on the screen. So by changing the screen size, you can actually get past that initial setup. This phone, by default, if you press the down button from the home screen, will open the notifications, or this phone's watered down version of them. So you may be noticing these pesky notifications that cannot be dismissed. Never fear, there is a way around that. So if I go back to Button Mapper, let's go add another button. Add button. And I'm going to reach behind the phone over here and press this button. Again, you can use any button you want for anything. You don't have to take my personal advice for which buttons. I just know how I like it, and that's what I'm using as the example. So F7, no thanks. Customize, single tap. Single tap is going to be notifications. So now that I've got that done, let's go ahead and single tap. And would you look at that? I'm sure you already recognize this as the full notifications that come with any Android phone when you pull down from the top of the screen. It's actually part of the phone. We just can't normally see it. So now I can enable my mouse and press and hold on this, and then go over here to the little settings cog, and wow, MATVT mouse for Android, notification, off. Oh, that didn't work. Oh boy. Okay, there we go. So that notification is now gone. Now, the other one that you saw here was from Aurora Store. It can be dismissed, but for some reason, it cannot be dismissed from the phone's default notification screen. There's no dismiss button, but if we go here, notice there's a clear all button, and it works. We'll get rid of that lickety split. So, boom. Now, I mentioned that I would demonstrate downloading a paid app using the Aurora Store. It's really quite simple. If you've purchased it before on the Google Play Store, you can download it without any problem. And I'm going to use one of my favorite apps as an example, which is, the Signal Check Pro app. So it's one of my favorites because it allows me, so here's the free version, the light, and then the pro version is paid. It says right there, paid, no ads. $3.99. You can just tap where it says $3.99. And since I've already paid for it, it'll download just like that. Now, on the newer versions of the phone, it'll just be like this when you're installing. On the Kyocera DuraXV Extreme, you will actually have OK or cancel buttons right here, and you will have to disable the MATVT mouse to use the navigation keys to select it. Install, open, and it'll ask for permissions. Okay, scroll down, continue. Gotta disable the mouse to allow while using the app. Allow, and like that. Wonderful. Now this is not important to most people, but it's important to me. As a phone and network nerd, I like to have all the details of my cell network. Now, let me scroll down here and clear all and get rid of that. Now, the persistent notification is one that I like, so I'm going to keep it. Yeah, anyway, TT9. Let me demonstrate why that's necessary, shall I? So if I go here to a new message, so we can go ahead and change entry mode to prediction, but it's terrible. So if I type hello using T9, so 43556, look at that garbage. I have to actually scroll down to hello and hit select, and then proceed from then on. And it's cool, yeah, sure, that I can, go ahead and, yeah, but no. It's not great that I don't know, what else would I like? Phone. So I just typed phone, except I have to actually scroll over to it, which is just trash. And let me demonstrate what I mean. On the DuraXV Extreme, which, okay. On the DuraXV Extreme, let's go ahead and open a new message there. So watch how much better it is. I can just type, oh, I have to actually enable XT9 word, so right, because I rebooted the phone. I can actually type hello and just hit space and see how quick that is. Crazy fast. Can't do that on the newer versions, unfortunately. The DuraXV Extreme was the last one of this line that had that capability. But it's fine because of the fantastic traditional T9 app. Now, it's nowhere near as good as the default that comes with those phones, but it is what it is. So, scroll down to initial setup, click here to enable TT9 from Android settings. Select default keyboard. Oh, status, my apologies. TT9, okay, okay, and back. Okay, I don't know why the phone decided. Okay, there we go. Select default keyboard, traditional T9. And then you can get all these nice little settings, which yeah, why not? Those are convenient. Okay, go back, and before you can really start using the app, don't skip this, it's important. You have to go to languages and choose your language. If you don't, it will not work. Now, the English is selected by default, but it still will not work until you hit load selected. Now, also, just to demonstrate, let's go ahead and get another, oh, that's crazy. My native language, Bulgarian, is right there. Let's go ahead and get a more common one, English, Spanish, added to the list. So now that we have those two, and again, it doesn't matter if you only choose one, it will not work until you load. So let's load. It is now downloading the dictionaries. So English is downloaded, now waiting for Spanish. While we're waiting for that, let's go ahead and demonstrate the full setup of how I have my phone here. So you can actually replace what's in the main menu here. So I have replaced a lot of the useless apps with much more useful things like Google Maps and Shazam, Spotify, weather app. Now, I went through several weather apps, and this is the only one I found that really works well on this phone. And WhatsApp. So let's go ahead and also show you the full setup of how I have my button mapper. So you already know this is my home key. Press and hold for recent apps, double tap to rotate. You already know this. Single tap is just default. Double tap screenshots. Press and hold goes to system settings, but there's more. Over here, the back button behind the fold opens up notifications, which we know. But I have this one here opening up quick settings. And I have the send key to where if you press and hold, it opens up Assistant, which for my assistant, I have chosen Alexa. It takes a little bit to open if it hasn't recently been open. But you see, it's pretty nice because by default, it opens up like this. Oh, sometimes this phone does this. An app that is clearly working fine, it'll claim isn't responding. But if you just scroll down and hit wait, it's fine. So it's nice because I can just type and hit enter and, oh, well, it's not connected to the internet right now, but it's super convenient because I have my entire house set up with smart lights, so I can just type what I want to turn on and off. And if I really want to talk to it, I can just navigate over here. I can enable the mouse pointer and navigate over here to the microphone. Now, I'm sure there's a setting somewhere to make it go straight to voice. I just haven't bothered because I actually like this way better. But when I first started using this phone, I had it set up like when I activated the assistant, and just to demonstrate how much quicker it is when it's already been opened. But when I had it set up, okay, well, in theory, or maybe it's just not happy that I have the internet turned off. Let me go ahead and fix that. There we go. When I first set this phone up, pressing and holding that key would open up the normal speech Alexa, where you would just voice command it. So in theory, it should go much quicker once it's recently been used, but yeah. So I can, oh my gosh, it's just not playing nice today. I promise it normally works much better. Regardless, you get the idea. What else? Yes, let me just... Okay, so these soft keys I have to where if you press and hold, it adjusts the brightness, which I find very useful, especially because if you go here, the lowest brightness level is not the lowest. It will go lower if you use Button Mapper to set it that way. And one of the most useful things I think is using Button Mapper as music controls. So I have this over here, the SOS key, as a play pause button. So if I click it, it will resume playing Spotify, which may take a moment because Spotify wasn't already open. But if Spotify was already open, it would be almost instant. Now, seeing as I don't know exactly how long it'll take to reopen in the background, and I don't want to keep you waiting, I'm just going to open my menu, tap 8 to just go to Spotify manually. Let's go down to my liked songs. And I'll use my mouse pointer, play. Oh, it's going to be difficult, is it now? All right. Sometimes it does that, and I can just click on a specific song and it'll start playing right away. Other times I just have to be patient because even that doesn't work. Seems we are in one of those times. It might be because Spotify has been offline for so long, because I usually use this phone with Wi-Fi and data disabled. Since I have all my Spotify songs, all 2,900 of them downloaded for offline. Which, by the way, all of these phones can handle micro SD cards up to 512 gigabytes, which is pretty impressive. All right, looks like it's getting ready to actually start playing music for us. Maybe. I was thinking about it. Okay, There we go, it's playing music. So, which, by the way, I think it's quite impressive that this phone can play Spotify to begin with. I mean, I won't turn the volume up right now because people are trying to sleep, but this phone gets very loud and remains crystal clear even at the higher volumes. So I actually prefer this as my favorite Spotify player. If I press the SOS button, it's my play pause button, right? Cool stuff. But here's where it gets really nice. These two buttons back here, if I press and hold, this is the skip button. And then this will go back. How cool is that? And you know how you can also double tap? I have this one on the right, double tap to enable and disable Bluetooth. Pause that, we don't need to listen to music right now. So I think that's pretty nice. And I can prove it's happening by pulling down the quick settings. See, just like that. And this one on the left, double tap, enables and disables Wi-Fi. So, yeah. Just like that, double tap for Wi-Fi. Yeah. Oh, and you see how I have the battery saver enabled? I do that because I don't get notifications from any apps unless the phone is on the charger, and that's very intentional because the main reason I use this phone as my primary is to limit distractions. Of course, it also extends the battery of the phone, but dual purpose. Now, unfortunately, toggling flashlight using button mapper does not work on any of these phones. So, and you can't do it from here either. If you use the mouse pointer, it won't work. So I just have the phone's default set, like the phone's actual built-in settings to the PTT key, the push-to-talk key opens up the flashlight, which is not ideal because it can't stay that way in the background, but it's better than nothing. And by the way, the play pause button will work flawlessly even if the phone is closed. And it'll claim you have to disable keyguard, but you don't. You do for the skipping back and forth, yes. But you can just press and hold that button to disable keyguard quite simply. And now I can skip the song just like that. I can go back. I can pause. And press and hold. Oh, it doesn't work when it's closed, of course. Oh, okay. Delayed reaction. I have this SOS button to where if I press and hold, it turns the screen off. So, cool stuff. And now I chose to have it this way because there is a little slot in my car where I stick this phone. It's just meant for like storage right in the front. And I keep this phone connected to my car's Bluetooth. And I use it to stream music, or not stream, to just play Spotify. So I have a play pause button right there. I can force the screen to turn off because when it's charging it likes to stay on all the time. Sometimes, other times not. And I have a skip button right there. It's so convenient. So I think that pretty well outlines how I'm using button mapper. Time to go back to this phone. Unfortunately, on the newer iterations, so that will be the DuraXE Epic and the DuraXA Equip, and presumably also the DuraXV Extreme Plus, but I've never had one, so I can't confirm. You cannot use button mapper to toggle Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. It just won't work for reasons unknown to me. And anyway, it's done. So now let's go ahead and type a message. So just like that. Hello. Now, one thing that sucks is the 0 is always the space. So the pound key is no longer space now that we're using the TT9 app. But look at that. How cool is that? Now, bet you it won't know my name. Oh. It knows my name. All right. I'm impressed. I don't know how it knows that. I certainly have not taught it. But regardless, you can teach this phone words. You can teach the TT9 app words very easily. Like, let's try a curse word. Oh, it actually already knows it. That's crazy. All right. I don't really know. Yeah, basically, if you have some sort of word that you're trying to teach that the phone doesn't know, you can switch it off of T9 mode by hitting the pound key. When you hit the pound key, it'll go to 1, 2, 3 to numerical entry here, right? And you can tap it again to go to ABC, which is, you know, just normal boring typing. So once you've typed your word, you can hit star. And when you hit star, it will ask you, do you want to add that word to whatever language you currently have the phone opened. So I'm going to hit cancel, but that's how you do it. Now, if I hit hash again, it'll go back to English. If I press and hold hash or pound or whatever you want to call it, look at that, it just changed to Spanish. So now I can type hola, and you use the directional keys here to select the one you want. Just like that. I wonder if it'll still know my name in Spanish. Oh, it does not. Oh, it does. Oh, goodness, that's crazy. All right. Well, very cool. This app impresses me continually. And if you want to access the settings, you can simply press star. Well, my apologies. You press and hold star, which, of course, also turns on your mouse. But pressing and holding star while the keyboard is open will get you straight to the settings. Now, hang on. What's this about keypad? Can I change? Wait. Oh, no. I was really hopeful for a moment that maybe we could switch around the 0 and the hash, but it looks like, so we can change, yeah, that the input mode is changeable indeed. It doesn't have to be pound. Oh yeah, all of this is changeable except the space. I really want to change the space. Alas, looks like we cannot do that. Very cool. Okay, I think that might be enough for now. No, it is not. It is not enough for now. So the messaging app that comes with this phone is hot garbage. It likes to lag and freeze and crash all the time. So the way I deal with that is with the Google Messages app. So I'm going to whip out the DuraXE Epic for that. So there are a few downsides. For example, you see here, there's a new message notification, but it doesn't show a banner, and it doesn't show on the external display like it does when you're using the default messaging app. See how it shows. Now, there's a reason I'm not using it on here, and that is the Google Messaging. The Google Messages app, for some reason, does not allow multimedia messaging on Verizon. But that's just life. It works fine on AT&T, so I use it on my DuraXE Epic. Regardless, I had to get a little creative because I don't know of a way to change what the soft keys do from the home screen. So I disabled the default messaging app and replaced it with Google Messaging. And in order to do that, right, so if you single press, nothing happens because it's trying to open a disabled app. I couldn't just change that to be a single press and button mapper to open up Google Messaging because that would completely break the functionality of that soft key. So I have it double tap opens it up. And I can scroll down through my messages just like that. I can open them up and scroll up and down. I can it's in Greek mode, right? I was testing earlier if we can do Greek. Somebody wanted to know. I can just type and hit send just that easily. You know, it's great. The only thing I can't do without using the mouse pointer is start a new chat. Go down here to new message. You do have to use the mouse pointer. Now, the way around that is to just dial the number and hit message. And then boom. Or go to the contacts. Select the contact you want and hit message. So it's up to you if you decide to replace the default messaging app. But if you're not using Verizon, you might as well, because the more you use it, the more the default one will become unusable. And even before it gets to the point of being unusable, it will be frustrating because it's very difficult to tell when the message is... It's not very difficult, but it's not very easy either to tell when the message thread is read or unread. And on top of that, you have to manually go into every single message to mark it as read. You can't just open the thread, which is just so frustrating. And on top of that, sometimes messages will get stuck as unread, but you can't see them anywhere. It's like they don't actually exist, and no amount of going to mark all as read takes care of it. But if you do stick with the default, so you know, you can go to options and okay, I don't see it right here, but normally there is a mark all as read option right there. Might not be necessary because there are no unread messages right now. So that might be why it's not showing. So now we have another notification here that I can't clear, but I can in fact clear it from here. Quite a lot of notifications are going to be that way, which is why you really need to enable the notification pull down from the button mapper. Okay, I think I've gone into way more than enough detail. Should give you a pretty clear idea of how to download apps on your Kyocera flip phone, as well as improve functionality in general with button mapper and with the mouse pointer. And let's see, what else? Let me just cover a few more things. I guess by that I mean I will just show you all what apps I have installed on my personal phone. So of course, Aurora Store and the mouse pointer app. Dropbox is great. I actually have it set to automatically back up all my photos in the background, which is fantastic. Spotify, of course. Rainy Mood, oh, I love it for just white noise. Pandora for more music streaming. Root Explorer is a fantastic file explorer. Fast is just for measuring network speed. That is for tethering when your network doesn't support it. Maps, well, that's just Google Maps. I don't think that needs explained. It does completely work, including turn-by-turn navigation, just by the way. But you cannot log in because there's no Google Play services. So it's not possible to log in to Google anything. The exception I have is, here, I'll get to it in just a bit. Button Mapper, of course. Alexa, Twitter, yep, Yahoo Mail. So the Yahoo Mail app, I have my Google account linked to it, so I can actually check my Gmail that way. Oh, but of course, the phone also has a default email client, which works great. And I have that. I use it for both Yahoo and Gmail. SonoCheck Pro, we've already covered. OpenSignal is just another speed testing app. NewPipe is a YouTube alternate because the default YouTube app doesn't work on this phone, like the real YouTube app. But NewPipe works great, and you can even use it to play videos in the background. And I don't know why you would want to, but you can minimize the video to where it's on a small, tiny screen in the middle of your display, and keep doing other stuff around it. But that's just not really, it's pointless on a phone like this. That's Facebook Messenger, works great on this phone. Shazam, always gotta have it. Discord works, kind of. It works, it's just very clunky and slow. And one thing I should mention about the mouse pointer app is, unfortunately, it has one very common and obnoxious glitch, which is that quite often when you are in scroll mode and you're trying to scroll up and down, it will think you're clicking instead. That happens a lot in the Discord app. It doesn't really happen anywhere else, but it happens all the time in the Discord app. WhatsApp, pretty sure is self-explanatory, works fantastically on this phone. And by the way, you can do voice and video calls using both Discord and WhatsApp on this phone, except it doesn't have an internal camera, so video calling is just a bit weird. This is just if you want to extract an app that's on your phone as a file to share. That's just a silly game. Another navigation app like Google Maps, the weather app, Google Translate, the Walmart app, which marvelously I can even use Walmart Pay. So people look at me like I'm crazy when I whip out this phone and use it to use the camera of this phone to scan the self-checkout and pay for my groceries just by using this app. That's not important. Amazon shopping is self-explanatory. F-Droid we covered earlier. It's where we downloaded Aurora Store from, and I keep it installed on here because it notifies me when there are updates to the Aurora Store, because the Aurora Store does not yet update itself. This phone does not come with a voice recorder for some reason, so I downloaded an app for it instead. Oh, this is a great app. That's all it does. It just turns your phone to grayscale mode, which also makes it easier to spend less time on the phone. Not important. That's my bank app. T-Mobile Money. Anytime Fitness. QR code scanner. This phone doesn't come with one. Cell Mapper. Well, it's important to me, but not to you, so I'll skip over it. Imager. Just not important. This is a fantastic app. This app I have set up to where once a day, it will automatically, as long as the phone is charging and connected to Wi-Fi, but you can choose, those are optional, it will take a full backup of my call logs and all of my text message history and upload it to my Dropbox. So if anything should ever happen to my phone, I won't lose any of that data. SoundCloud, more music. Bitwarden, password manager, works fine on this phone. Snapchat, believe it or not, works on this phone. Yes, I know, it's ridiculous, but it works. It doesn't work well. It's quite clunky and difficult to use. But in a pinch, it can work. And that's just my service provider's app. Firefox is the browser that I'm using because I had to get rid of Chrome when it decided to quit working. I wish I had switched to Firefox long ago because it works so much smoother and quicker than Chrome ever did. And that's that. I absolutely adore this phone, and I highly recommend it to anyone who wants a basic-ish phone. And the great thing is, if you just leave it as is, it's completely basic, minus a web browser, which the default web browser isn't all that, but hence why I have Firefox on here. But you can customize it so much. It's just honestly ridiculous how customizable these phones are. Oh, now also one more thing I almost forgot is I have my battery percentage enabled. Let me show you how to do that. The only way I found is by going back to the notifications, using the mouse pointer, and clicking on that battery icon, or not. Clicking on that battery icon, come on. Well, that's how I did it on my Extreme. Apparently not how it works on here. That's okay. I think I can probably just go to the system settings and do it through there. Oh my goodness. Why? Oh my goodness, no. Let's get the mouse enabled, go back to those settings, There we go. There we go. So, let's turn that mouse back off. This is where, well, you can look at battery usage here, which you're not gonna see normally. So that's nice and cool. This is where you can turn on the battery saver if you want to. And battery percentage on, just like that. So, yep. I can't think of anything else right this moment that would be necessary to touch on. So, yeah. I hope you find this video helpful. I don't know what questions are left to be answered since I rambled on for an hour and a half, but by all means, do not hesitate to let me know if you have any questions. Bye.